The wind, an eternal companion of these boundless prairies, howled over the ranch of Jacob Stone, a solitary, gruff man whose life was as harsh and unpredictable as the land he tried to tame. Jacob, a former soldier who had lost his family in a skirmish with Indians, now lived in seclusion, his only companions being his loyal horse and silent memories. He held no love for the Indians, but neither did he harbor hatred, just a cold indifference forged by years of solitude and loss. One day, while riding his land at the foot of the Red Rocks, Jacob discovered something that made him pause. By the stream, under the scorching sun, lay a young girl, Apache. She was unconscious, her body seemed beaten, and on her shoulder, directly on her skin, blazed a fresh, ugly brand. A stylized image of a broken arrow, the mark of a thief. She was dying, her breathing shallow, her eyes half closed. Jacob's first impulse was to ride past. "Not my concern," whispered an inner voice, the voice of a survivor who had learned not to interfere. But something in her defenselessness, in her youth, in that cruel brand, made him stop. He remembered how his own sister, once just as fragile, had lain lifeless after a raid. It wasn't compassion, but rather an echo of an old pain that suddenly resonated in his soul. He dismounted, cautiously approached her. The girl was very young, no older than 16. Her skin was covered in dust and blood, and her lips were cracked from thirst. Jacob, to his own surprise, lifted her. She was light, almost weightless. He carried her to his horse, laid her across the saddle, and rode back to the ranch. Over the next few days, Jacob, awkwardly but diligently, nursed her back to health. He treated her wounds, gave her water and herbal concoctions his mother had known. The girl, named Kaya, slowly regained consciousness. She spoke little, her eyes full of wariness and fear, but deep gratitude also shone within them. She recounted that she had been accused of stealing a sacred amulet, though she was innocent. She had been banished from her tribe, branded a thief, and left to die in the wilderness. Jacob listened, his heart, it seemed, for the first time in years, felt something beyond indifference. He saw in her eyes not a savage, but a victim of injustice, just like himself. He knew that taking in an Apache, especially a branded one, was madness. It could cost him everything, his ranch, his life. But he had already made his choice. And in that choice lay not only danger, but also a strange, unexpected hope. Rumors on the prairies spread faster than the wind. News that Jacob Stone, the solitary rancher, had taken in a branded Apache girl reached the nearest town, Sandstone, and caused a storm of indignation. The townspeople, many of whom had lost loved ones in Indian raids, were outraged. Sheriff Thomas Baxter, a stern man with an aversion to Indians, was the first to arrive at the ranch. "Stone, what is this madness?" Baxter growled, his hand resting on his revolver's grip. "You know what we do to those who shelter savages, especially thieves?" Jacob stood on his doorstep, his gaze firm. "She's no thief, Baxter. She was dying, and I helped her." "That's no crime." Kaya, standing behind Jacob, peeked out from over his shoulder, her eyes full of fear, but she didn't retreat. Baxter sneered. "You've lived alone too long, Stone. Your heart's gone soft. The town won't tolerate this. They're already talking about coming here to take her, or you." The sheriff rode off, leaving Jacob with a heavy premonition. Kaya, understanding the danger, offered to leave. "I don't want you to get hurt because of me," she whispered. But Jacob shook his head. "I won't give you up. I don't abandon those I've helped." There was no romance in his words, just stubborn determination. Soon the threats became more concrete. Anonymous letters appeared, nailed to the ranch gates with threats and warnings. Shots were heard in the distance at night, and one day Jacob found the mutilated carcass of his cow with the same brand as Kaya's carved into its hide. It was a message. Jacob realized this wasn't just the anger of the townspeople. It was something more organized. He began to prepare. He knew he would have to face a mob, but he wouldn't back down. His anger was directed at those who judged so easily, who were ready to kill an innocent person for an act of mercy. He trained, cleaned his weapons, fortified the ranch. Kaya, seeing his resolve, began to help him. She showed him how to use traps, how to read tracks, how to move silently. She was a warrior despite her fragility. One day when Jacob was returning from town, he overheard a conversation in the saloon. 50 men, led by Owen Bradley, a wealthy and influential cattleman who had long wanted Jacob's land. Bradley, known for his cruelty and hatred of Indians, was assembling a posse to set things right at Stone's ranch. He accused Jacob not only of sheltering a thief, but also of conspiring with savages. Jacob understood this wasn't just a threat. This was war. His pain from losing his family sharpened again, but now it was mixed with fury. He was ready for a fight. News that 50 men were heading for Stone's ranch spread throughout the county. Jacob and Kaya prepared for a siege. They barricaded the windows, readied weapons, set traps. The tension hung heavy in the air, thick and palpable. Kaya, seeing Jacob's resolve, revealed more about herself. She explained that the brand on her shoulder was not only a thief's mark, but also a sign of shame imposed upon her after she tried to expose the true thief of the sacred amulet, a tribal elder who secretly sold artifacts to white traders. She tried to stop him, but he accused her, and the tribe, blinded by his authority, believed him. She was exiled, and the amulet was sold anyway. Jacob listened, his anger at the injustice intensified. He saw that Kaya was not a thief, but a victim, just like himself. At dawn the next day, as the sun began to paint the sky in crimson hues, riders appeared on the horizon. 50 men led by Owen Bradley, his face contorted with malice and bloodlust. Beside him rode Sheriff Baxter, his gaze cold and resolute. "Stone, come out! We know you're hiding the savage. Give her up, and we'll leave you in peace," Bradley shouted. Jacob stepped onto the porch, revolver in hand. "She's no thief, and I won't give her up," the mob murmured. Some began to draw weapons. It seemed a battle was inevitable. But then something unexpected happened. From the flank, from behind the hills, a group of riders appeared. They were Apache, but not warriors, rather elders and a few young hunters. At their head rode the old wise Chief White Wolf, his face full of dignity. "Halt!" Chief White Wolf's voice boomed. "We have come for the truth." Owen Bradley and his men were in shock. They did not expect the appearance of Indians, especially in such a peaceful assembly. Sheriff Baxter, turning pale, tried to regain control, but it was too late. Chief White Wolf, seeing Kaya, dismounted. He approached her, his gaze full of pain and regret. "Kaya, my daughter," he said, "we know the truth. The elder who accused you has been exposed. He confessed to stealing the amulet and selling it to white traders. We have come to restore your honor and justice." The chief's words stunned everyone. The mob of white settlers who had come with Bradley stood frozen in bewilderment. Sheriff Baxter, his face pale, tried to intervene, but Jacob, standing beside Kaya, blocked his path. "You heard that, Baxter? She's innocent, and you came here to kill her and take my land." Jacob's voice was full of anger. Magnate Harrison, who had secretly funded Bradley and bought the stolen artifacts, tried to flee, but he was captured by Chief White Wolf's men. He was the very white trader Kaya had spoken of. The situation escalated. Bradley, realizing his plan was crumbling, tried to provoke a fight, but Marshal Jake McCabe, who had secretly been tracking Bradley at Jacob's request, suddenly appeared with a group of federal agents. McCabe, having learned of the impending attack, had come to help. "Owen Bradley, you are under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy, and illegal land seizure." McCabe's voice boomed. Bradley and his men were apprehended. Sheriff Baxter, his face contorted with rage and helplessness, was also arrested for complicity and abuse of power. Magnate Harrison, caught red-handed, confessed to everything. The trial was swift. Bradley, Harrison, and Baxter received harsh sentences. Justice prevailed. The triumph was complete. Kaya was reinstated into her tribe, her honor restored, but she did not forget Jacob. She stayed on his ranch, helping him, and their friendship grew into something more. Jacob Stone, once a solitary and gruff rancher, became a hero. His ranch became a place where whites and Indians could find peace and understanding. The story of Jacob and Kaya, a tale of how an act of compassion changed the fate of two people and brought peace to the harsh prairies, became a legend. It inspired many, reminding them that even in the darkest of times, kindness and justice can overcome hatred, and that true strength lies not in weapons, but in the human heart.